You walk into the store, tall aisles, row after row of TVs, all crackling with the same nature documentary. A cheetah chases down a gazelle in glorious 4K. You get a little hypnotized. Not going to lie, it looks good. They all look good. Oh, that one's bright, dang. Is that OLED? Micro-LED? Oh no. Wait, mini LED with QD OLED layering and zone dimming. Wait, what does any of that mean? So, you pick the one with the flashiest tag, or what the guy in the blue shirt said, sold the most last week, or worst. The one glowing like 1,000 suns right under the showroom lights. And that's how you bought the wrong TV. Don't feel bad. It's basically designed to happen. The whole showroom experience. It favors brightness over actual picture quality, aggressive marketing over practical thinking, and more features over better experience. Honestly, it's kind of a mess out there. But today I'm breaking it down. The real reasons you walk home 65 in deep, carrying regret in your arms. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly why the TV you picked isn't the one you needed. And more importantly, you'll know what to do next. Let's zoom out. You got 3 kinds of TV shoppers. Team big screen. If it's not at least 75 in diagonally, why bother? These folks want stadium vibes in the living room, even if it means mounting it awkwardly above the fireplace and cranking their necks like penguins. The problem? Most big screens in the budget range are just stretched out versions of bad panels. Think a pixel mush on a glossy billboard, team feature creep 8K 240 motion rate, smart home integration with your espresso machine. It gives me recommendations based on my mood. Cool. Now show me a single piece of native 8K content that's not from a tech demo on YouTube team. Meh, it's fine. You walk into the store, point and say that one. As long as it turns on, you're happy until it starts bending. During night scenes, it can't handle SDR tone mapping, or worse, it can't even handle your console properly. Yeah, it was not fine. Now the twist, all 3 of these people, very different reasons, same outcome. They end up with the wrong TV. So, here's what TV makers don't want you to realize. Your TV decision, it's mostly made for you by confusing model numbers, minor spec upgrades, and big new stickers slapped on last year's panel with a new code of buzzwords. Let's talk about that for a second. Ever seen one of those product tags that says something like XR Triluminos Pro 120Hz quantum dot dynamic crystal color hyperview? What does any of that mean? Nobody knows. They sound like settings you'd find on a spaceship. And that's the point. You scroll through that tag. Mouth slightly open, sounds high-end, so you overpay. Now, let me give you the real script. Most brands are running. Don't make it easy to compare. Confuse just enough so people stay overwhelmed. Then point their attention toward the premium stuff. Have you ever noticed how mid-range TVs now get split into 3 versions? Like Q7, Q7 Max, and Q7 Pro with AI brightness core? It's like Pokemon evolutions, but for anxiety. And there's always a catch hidden in panel tech. Quick test. You bought a QLED. Sounds nice, right? Now go back, flip the box, and try to find this. Is it 60 Hz or 120 Hz? Is it using IPS or VA panel? Does it have full array dimming, real dimming, or just software contrast booster? Because here's the deal. Most budget QLEDs are just marketing wrappers over regular LCDs, LED backlight, mediocre viewing angles, mediocre HDR, mediocre blacks. But in a bright Best Buy showroom, they shine. Bravo, marketing teams. Here's what a bunch of folks don't realize. You can easily spend more and get worse performance just because the model number went up. Case in point, the 2023 U8H from High-Ends outperformed nearly every cheaper 2024 model below. The U6 and U7 series. All this because people thought newer equals better. It's not. Not always. Okay. I need to rant a bit. I saw a guy buy an 85-inch premium TV with edge-lit dimming, 60 Hz refresh, and a Roku OS glued to it. Said it was love at first sight. Fast forward 1 week later, he texts me, "Why do movies look jittery? Why is the black part of Batman's cape lighter than Bruce Wayne's jawline?" I said, "Because my brother, you bought a billboard." He returned it. Got a real TV this time, that's the thing. TVs look fine playing those 4K demo scenes, but throw on actual content. A Netflix thriller shot in low light or a sports broadcast on cable. Suddenly banding, motion blur, crushed blacks, weird soap opera effect. So, here's the key. Stop shopping for TVs based on what they're called or what's plastered across that flashy label. You need to think in use cases, aka, how do you watch? Let's go. Do you mainly stream in the evenings with the lights down low? You need solid black levels or OLED-like precision. Don't settle for a panel that glows like a nightlight during dark content. Watching content like Stranger Things feels totally different when your TV handles shadow detail well. Do you game? Then input lag and refresh rate matter more than fancy names. Sub 10 milliseconds or nothing. VRR ARM and real 120 Hz support. Not motion enhanced 120 Hz. That's basically just marketing fluff. Hosting big groups, wide viewing angles. VA panels will betray you unless the TV has some kind of viewing angle tech. Otherwise, the person sitting to the side just sees color soup. Sunny rooms, something mini LED or high peak brightness plus anti-glare coating. OLED. I love it personally, but not in a sun-soaked kitchen with 3 skylights. And hey, if you're just watching reruns of sitcoms, you don't need quantum pixels. You need a TV that turns on fast, doesn't crash, and makes your YouTube rabbit holes look decent. Okay, quick pause. To the guy who just bought the newest XTR Platinum Q Pro because the box said best brightness in class, and now you're wondering why your old TV looked sharper? Yeah, you bought the wrong TV. It wasn't your fault, it's just nobody explains this stuff to regular people. They just rely on sticker shock and spec sheet overload. I want you to win next time. And you can. So, in the next section, let's break it all down. The panel types. What truly matters versus what's just hype. OLED versus mini LED versus the forgotten soldiers. IPS and basic LED. We'll even talk about names like why the S95C is kind of a silent killer and why the U7 series might actually be all you really need. Alright, I want to get straight into it because if you're still watching, there's a pretty good chance you either A, just bought a TV and feel low-key nervous, or B, are staring at one now in your cart, finger hovering over, by now like it's a life decision. Sniffles. It kind of is. So consider this your crash course in not making the exact mistake 70% of people make. That's not an exaggeration. Survey shows that the majority of consumers admit they don't know what panel tech they bought. Let that settle in. Keyboard typing. Here's what you really need to know. Not all LEDs are created equal. And not all QLEDs, OLEDs, or mini LEDs even mean the same thing between brands. Let's simplify. I'm going to break it down into the real 4 pillars of TV performance. Forget acronyms, just focus on these. Panel backlight type dimming zones and contrast control, color reproduction, motion management. That's where the magic or mush happens. Clear as throat. Let's start at the root. Standard LED, your bare bones cousin. This is usually found on TVs around or under $500, especially the 60 Hz kind. Most of them are edge-lit, meaning only the edges light up and the picture is lit up like a flashlight behind paper. You'll get crushing in blacks, a flat image, and sunlight in a movie scene. Say goodbye to detail. People buy these thinking, hey, it's 4K. My front porch light is also 4K, doesn't mean it looks good. Now people hear QLED and think it's just Samsung's version of OLED. No. QLED equals LED with quantum dots. Still an LCD panel, just with better color. Think of quantum dots like tinted sunglasses that make everything look slightly better, but don't fix the sun burning your retinas. They don't actually turn off individual pixels, they're just better at coloring what's already there. That's why QLED still struggles with deep blacks blooming around subtitles and shadow detail unless it's paired with full array local dimming. Ah, yes, full array dimming, the unsung MVP of TV tech. This is when the TV has actual lighting zones that can turn off or dim parts of the screen selectively. Better zones equals better separation between light and dark equals better contrast. Example, you're watching Blade Runner. One side of the screen's blasting white neon. The other side should be straight up darkness. A good dimming system handles that beautifully. A cheap one, whole screen gets hazy and gray, you basically lose the director's whole vibe. Now enter mini LED. Think of this as tiny LED clusters like the regular LED system, but finer, more precise, more zones, less blooming, brighter, not quite OLED level contrast, but finally a reason not to hate watching dark scenes on a non-OLED TV. These are some of my faves right now, TBH. If tuned right, a mini LED can actually rival mid-tier OLEDs without the brightness struggles. But brightness isn't always the goal. Which brings us to the king, OLED, organic light emitting diodes. It sounds scientific because it is. Each pixel powers itself, which means that when something on screen is supposed to be black, it's off, like pixel turned off. That's why people rave about infinite contrast. But OLED has some real quirks. Burn-in. Yeah, OLED burn-in still exists. Not always a problem, but it's real. If you leave CNN's ticker or gaming HUD on for 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, you might start ghosting outlines permanently into the screen. OLED also struggles in bright rooms. Unless you're buying a really good panel like what LG calls WLED Evo or Samsung's QD OLED, which improves color and brightness, you're going to need to draw the curtains just to watch cartoons. Still, in darker rooms, OLED is untouchable. The cinematic feel, the depth, the insane responsiveness. It's like the difference between vinyl and streaming music. TV brands try to blur the lines between these panels by throwing curveballs like Neo QLED, Samsung Mini LED, ULED, Hisense marketing term, NanoCell, LG QLED variant. All fake names to disguise regular tech. Behind sci-fi words, it's like calling a Big Mac quantum energy layered protein duo. Here's a secret. Many of these are all just LED plus extra software. You got to read between the specs, not just what the panel is, but how it performs. That takes us to motion. We've all seen it. The soap opera effect. That weird glossy motion smoothing where everything looks like a YouTube vlog, not a movie. Every brand calls their motion something flow, true motion, motion flow, XR, clear action, etc. None of these are real refresh rates. They're just frame interpolation. What you want is actual native 120 Hz. If you're into gaming or sports, don't be fooled by things like 240 motion rate. That's marketing math cooked up in a lab by evil geniuses. Alright, so we've untangled the spaghetti. Now, let's bring it into the real world. You come home, plug that shiny new TV in, boot up a movie, maybe a game, and the truth starts creeping in. Why is the picture too bright or too dull? Why does it feel faster than the old one but also worse? Why are subtitles glowing like radioactive snow? Why does the menu lag every time you load Disney+? Why is Netflix launching sideways from the remote shortcut button? Because you bought the wrong TV. And I hate that the industry counts on that. TV makers know most buyers don't research. They rely on fatigue to push you up the price chain. You'll be told things like, it's got HDR, but they won't tell you it shows fake HDR, it's OLED. Yeah, but which OLED? WOLED, QDOLED, RGBOLED? It's 4K. Well, yeah, but your phone is too. Doesn't mean it's reference monitor quality. Truth is, you don't need the best, you need the right one. That knock, that's your Amazon guy bringing the wrong one right now. Don't answer it yet. Let's take a breather, because in the next section, I'm about to hand you what the salespeople won't. A lazy, honest, dead simple TV buying guide based on actual. Use not specs, not hype, just needs. You'll know exactly what panel works for your space, what to avoid like it's spoiled milk, and how to never fall for a pretty display again. Because you bought the wrong TV doesn't need to be a sentence. It can be a plot twist. Trust me, we're halfway through your redemption arc. Ooh.